What's going on, guys? Victor here with a brand new video, and I'm here to break a little bit of news. Well, not really break it, but I'm just going to relay it around to the rest of you guys. So as many of you guys know this news as much as possible, obviously, because the UFC is very, very close to getting fans back here in the United States, back in its events. Obviously, Governor Abbott, the governor of Texas, has lifted all COVID-19 restrictions as of this coming Monday coming up, and Dana White heard about those news. So obviously, as reported by Brett Okamoto, Ariel Helwani, and Mark Romali, all these guys just happen to be journalists and writers for ESPN, all MMA journalists, and they've all reported that Dana White is aggressively seeking to try to put on shows in Texas now that he has found out that all COVID-19 restrictions will be lifted and they'll be able to have as many fans as possible if they can be able to lock down a couple of venues in the state of Texas. So obviously this is some very huge news. This means that if Dana White can be able to put on shows, he can have full gates, which means stacked shows. Not only just stacked shows, but also already sold out shows as well. So when it comes to UFC events, the live gate is very, very important. The live gate is basically the amount of fans that pay to get their seats, that pay to go in there and see the event. So obviously the goal of every single mixed martial art event that the UFC puts on is to sell out every single show because there's a live gate. The UFC usually makes between $18 to $20 million off of the live gate. Now that we haven't had fans in a very, very long time, the UFC is losing a lot of money, but they're still able to generate money at the same time while having these shows. Obviously, this is very big not only for the UFC, but also for the fighters as well, because they get a share of the live gate, and that is a lot of money going towards the fighters' purses at the very end of the day, whether if they lose or win. So obviously this is very, very important for the UFC, but this could also backfire at the same time. UFC has been putting on their events here in America in the UFC Apex facility in Las Vegas, Nevada, which has, the whole state of Nevada has about a population of 2 million to 3 million people, which is obviously very, very shy to Texas that has a very, very large population. They got the second highest population here in the United States of America when it comes to population within a state. So obviously, if fighters are getting COVID in a small state such as Nevada, and I mean small when it comes to population, because Nevada is one of the biggest states here in the United States. I believe it's top 10 when it comes to land mass, land area. But if they can be able to get COVID and contract it in a state with such a small population such as Nevada, with about 2 to 3 million people in total, then it might get a whole lot worse when you're going into such a populated state such as Texas that has these cities such as Houston, Dallas, San Antonio with about more than 1 million people each. That's crazy. So basically the chances of an active fighter contracting COVID has just skyrocketed to probably more than 70%, which is just insane. And then you also have the fact that if UFC does decide to put on these events, Dallas has already said no. So Dana White is actively, aggressively pursuing the city of Houston. And if we all know something about Houston, it's that Houston has some of the worst judges in all of mixed martial arts history. Dominic Reyes got screwed over. Ilir Latifi got screwed over. And a lot of fighters got screwed over in that last UFC pay-per-view event that took place in Houston, Texas. So if I'm the UFC, try not to have these events in Houston, but maybe try San Antonio or Austin. San Antonio and Austin are the only two cities left that I can really think of to actually host these UFC events. But there's also a chance that these judges, these poor judges, can be able to be judges for these events taking place in those cities because they are part of the Texas State Athletic Commission, which means that the commission will seek those, maybe those same judges out to be a part of those UFC events in Texas. So even though the events may not take place in Houston, there's still a large opportunity, a large chance that those same judges that were on that Houston card in 2020 can still come back and wreak a lot of havoc during these UFC cards in Texas. Because when Dana White usually says he's going to do something, it usually happens. So brace for impact. Houston, we're launching. Houston, we've got takeoff. The UFC is going to be back in a couple weeks with a live gate, with shows, with fans, and these shows are going to be sold out because fans have been chomping at the bits to get back in the stadiums, to get back into arenas, and enjoy the sports that they love. So that's pretty much the news that I've got. Texas has opened up its borders. Not it's imaginary borders, COVID borders, as you would probably say or imagine, but they've lifted all the COVID restrictions. Fans are officially back in the arenas, officially back in the stadiums. UFC is good to go when they do get the okay to travel to Houston or San Antonio or Austin or El Paso, and they will be good when it comes to putting on these live events, these live shows with an open gate. And they will be able to make those $20 million, maybe even $22 million, depending on how big these events are, how sold out they do become. And like I said, everybody's chomping at the bits. They all want to come back to these events. And I'm happy. You know, there's a part of me that's happy, there's a part of me that's not. But I just kind of miss the fans, and I miss the noises in the background with the oohs and the ahs and ah crap and all that kind of stuff that goes on when it comes to being a fan. You know, all the emotions that goes into it, and the fighters feed off of the reactions of the fans at the same time as well. So the fighters are going to be happy, the UFC is going to be happy, the fans are going to be happy, and I think the whole entire MMA world is going to be happy at the same time. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope you guys found this news to be very, very helpful, and I hope you guys are excited as I am to see fans finally back here in the United States of America. And will we see COVID? Will we see athletes get COVID in the future? Obviously, yes, until everybody's vaccinated, until everybody has herd immunity. And will fights still fall through even though these fights are probably going to happen in Texas in the near future? Obviously, there's no stopping that. It's unpredictable, and people are still going to get COVID. Fights are still going to fall through. But it is what it is at the end of the day. If the UFC does get the okay from Texas, then there's nothing we can really do about it, but continue to watch the fights that we love to watch. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. Stay safe, stay blessed. I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the fights on Saturday. UFC 259, Megastat card. Enjoy.